I'm here with Jason Dubrowner. He's a lucid dreaming, currently focusing on develop a website, Empowered Dreaming. That's an online platform that encourages people to bring about their highest potential through dreamwork. Jason was a career software developer and studied physics at University of California, Santa Barbara. Jason, I'm so glad you're here. Let me ask the first question. How does one go from studying physics, which, is pretty hardcore science, to being interested in dreamwork?
Well, I think it's quite a seamless transition for people with an open mind, which physics, I think, really can open people's minds once they really they really learn about the underworkings of the universe and how strange things like quantum mechanics are. Um, so for someone like me, I got into physics because I'm interested in reality. And trying to always, get an answer for what's going on in this universe. And when I started working with dreams, it was because of that same curiosity. So for me, studying physics, studying dreams come from the same place.
Oh, that's so interesting. I love that you say, I'm interested in reality, therefore, I'm interested in dreams. Could you say a little bit more to that? Because I know a lot of people would say that dreams are the opposites. Like even people say it's just a dream, or no, stop dreaming, go back to reality. Where did the two meet for you?
Yeah, it all depends on the definition of reality.
Ooh.
So when people say reality, they usually mean this waking three-dimensional universe with its three dimensions of space and one of time that are connected. My own experience of reality and my own definition of reality has become updated since I started practicing lucid dreaming.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes, because of how similar it could be, how similar the senses are, the physical sensations, the detail of the worlds you see, and really, if you think about it, and this is actually how Don Miguel Ruiz opens up the Four Agreements, is by explaining how the only thing the mind does is dream. We think we're in reality right now, but what's happening in our brains is dreaming because it's all that our brains can do. Our bodies take in sensory inputs. They're all processed in our brain. For example, light coming into our eyes, photons hit the back of our retina. You have an image that's actually upside down in your eyeballs, and your brain flips it around. So everything we experience is in our heads, and it's during a process of dreaming, which is essentially just we have the screen of our mind that is essentially like a screen. It's two-dimensional. It's it's viewing a three-dimensional world just using perspectives, as in how the Renaissance painters discovered perspective in the painting to make it look three-dimensional. We have only this imagery mixed with the other senses like sound and taste and touch. This is our entire experience. And for me, that is reality. The reality is what is going on in my brain and what I am subjectively experiencing and the things I'm aware of. Um, and so when you really start remembering your dreams, and especially lucid dreaming, is when you get to explore and wander around a different kind of space that is not as stable as this 3D universe. But to me, the stability of this 3D universe doesn't make it, it's not enough for me to say this is real and this isn't, only because it's stable. For me, what's
Right.
real is what I'm experiencing.
That makes so much sense to me in the sense that, if I'm hearing you correctly, we are constantly making stories, narratives around everything that we're seeing in the world, everything that we're perceiving. So the reality for me, even if we're in the same room, would be a different one than the reality for you by definition, just because we're sitting at a different angle.
Mhm.
And since we're doing that constantly, we're also constantly exploring our own minds. in the waking world. And you're saying in the dream world, there's more space for that. Did I get you correctly?
Yeah, yes, yes.
That is so interesting. I also really like that you say just the fact that things are maybe a little bit more stable, like the inputs when I'm awake,
Mhm.
usually are relatively the same from 1 minute to the next.
Yes.
That doesn't make it more important than the more fluid reality when you're specifically in a lucid dream. Did I hear you on that?
Yeah, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I may wake up every morning in this apartment. Um, and then my dream spaces are unique and don't last for as long, but really for me what exists is the present moment, and right now this is my reality. But I could enter a different one in my dreams, and my experience of another place, I'm saying is what makes it real.
Yeah. It's
Hmm.
so interesting because I keep thinking about all the research that goes into, just what happens in a scanner if you see a face, or if you dream of a face, or if you think of a face, that you basically have this. It's so similar that you could wake someone up and say, $5 says you're dreaming of a face right now, or a person. And they were like, yeah, how did you know? Saw it on the scanner.
Hmm.
That I love that the more we dive into scanning our brains and our dreams, the more what you're saying comes closer together rather than as far apart as we might experience it in the day.
Hmm.
Which leads me to my next question, which is, what are you going to be presenting about at the Many Worlds of Lucid Dreaming conference?
Yeah, well, I'm presenting about reality, really what I've been talking about. For people who getting into lucid dreaming, really the first concept they have to come to terms with is their definition of reality. So, to do this in a way that's still grounded, I I like to still have a discerning mind, I'd say, with healthy skepticism, also with openness at the same time as to what is possible. Because if there's anything we know from science and the history of science, it's that whatever scientists have said is reality, or this is how things work, has been either incorrect or just not the full picture.
You're saying like 99% chance that we're incorrect today, but that doesn't matter. Keep exploring.
Yeah, either blatantly incorrect or our perspective is limited and there's a lot more going on
Hmm.
than we have any idea about.
Yeah.
That's just been the history of science. At that same time, there are certain things in science that we've experimented with and confirmed to a very high degree, with quantum theory in particular. Um, but the things quantum theory and other quantum theories like string theory say are also almost mind-boggling for someone who hasn't really thought about them very deeply. So when people say things like, dreams are just some kind of consciousness soup, random fantasies, like you know, it's a story that's been told. One of the stories about dreams has been told in our society, and I just want to present a different story, and one that is actually much more in line with not only physics, but in terms of ancient cultures, which is the other topic of my talk. And so, there's some ancient traditions who really had lucid dreaming as one of their practices. They have trained lucid dreamers. These are more mystical traditions that depend on the experience of their people more than some dogma from a book. And the things they say about dreams are also quite profound. And so I wanted to bring that as another starting point to try to build some new definition of reality.
I like that you called your talk Bridging Worlds, because that's basically what I'm hearing you're saying, how you bring a lot of concepts together, and actually they're not as distant from each other as one might think. If you say ancient tradition and hard traditions and hardcore physics are actually quite close when it comes to dreaming, that makes me very interested. Are you going to go like I mean, I know you have limited time. So are you going to go deep into the quantum physics, or are we more going to talk about the bridges?
No, I don't have that much time to go very deep into quantum physics. I could just pretty much say some of its main outcomes. It was more from a philosophical
Mm.
perspective.
Well, I'm actually
Uh,
happy because I never understood it.
yeah.
So is this for your talk? Is it for people who are beginners with lucid dreaming, or who have been practiced a lot with it?
Mhm. Really anybody. Yeah,
Okay.
really anybody. And a lot of it, I'm curious of discussing what other lucid dreamers think of what they think about reality and how lucid dreaming has, changed their view of reality.
That's a very interesting question to ask. Has it changed your view of reality?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Can you say more about that if you want?
Yeah, I mean, when started getting into it, it was like my whole world got blasted open, and
Really?
I really couldn't think about anything else for a while. Um, so my view of reality is much more open, and it makes my life experience, I think, much less mundane and more magical. It's almost like the movie The Matrix, in a way that how powerful our minds really are, how powerful they can be in our dreams. Um, and when you start to train yourself in your dreams to be able to do more things, more magical things, actually, um, this whole waking world seems a little bit more like that. Maybe I
You say
can't.
the magic comes more into the world as well?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like
It
that.
goes into the world
Yeah.
more, through the avenue of our own minds. And I might not be able to, fly right now or make that jar of honey levitate right now like I can in a dream, but it still seems to me like by bringing this kind of energy that I bring to lucid dreaming, this world does respond, and my
Yeah.
experience feels more magical to me.
I think you're not the only one saying that to me in this interview series. I like that. I
Mhm.
was also thinking what you said about getting it into your world, because I saw on your website that you teach empowered dreaming, that you teach intentional dreaming, and also um, how to get creative with it and how to get ideas from your dream. Has that happened to you as well in your own life?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, my dream presents me with ideas, lots of different kind of ideas. Especially when you ask. And that's, I think, the point of intentional dreaming is it's almost like your dreams are calling you on your phone and leaving you voice messages or text messages that you never listen to. Or you could actually call your dreaming mind on your phone and try to actually get a conversation with it. And when I ask, I get things back.
How do
Simple,
you ask? Oh, sorry, go ahead. No.
yeah, it's like simple practical things. Like just moved to Poland and I had to
Mhm.
pick a preschool for my daughters.
Mhm.
And I really had no way to research preschools except for looking at their websites. So I had a list of preschools and I asked my dreaming mind before I fell asleep to help me decide the preschool's best for my daughters. And that night I had a dream that I was touring all the preschools with my entire family and my parents and my siblings and some extended family, a whole group of us touring preschools in a dream. And the last preschool we saw, I just liked it. I liked the feeling of it. And so did my wife in the dream, and we nodded at each other. And I woke up and I just said, "Hey, Monica, I know which preschool to send them to."
That's
So
so practical. So practical.
yeah, and I visited this preschool here now, and their school starts in about a week and a half, and I gotta say, it's a really good choice. By far the best choice. In fact, a funny coincidence is the top dream worker in the city in Poland is sending her kids to the same preschool.
No way.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, you make friends fast.
I don't know her yet, but now she's a friend of a
You
friend.
will.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's so cool, and very relatable as well for people who've been doing this for a while. People who haven't been doing this, just, I know it sounds unreal when you tell people, but when you experience it,
Mhm.
kind of makes so much sense. Do you have favorite techniques when you're lucid dreaming?
Yeah, I mean, I've tried a lot of different techniques. I think a lot of it is what you're doing in the waking day and being mindful. I like to go on lucid walks where I just try to not think in any language for as long as possible.
Just in your dream, right?
This is in waking
Yeah.
life.
Oh, in
I'll just
waking
walk
life.
down the
Okay.
street and it's difficult, but just like,
Mhm.
okay, this next minute, I'm gonna not even think in any words. I'm just gonna look at what's around me and feel the air in my body. That's really good practice.
So are you saying the practice is to fully experience without having thoughts about it, like in any kind of thoughts, just like let it come in and do
Yes,
nothing, just
yes,
exist?
this
That
exists.
is not as easy as you think, right?
It's not very easy, but it's just like a lot of things that aren't easy, like playing guitar or riding a bike. I mean, you just practice it, and the more practice you practice, the easier it becomes. So I mean, they're practice like that. And then as I'm falling asleep, obviously, falling asleep mindfully and watching, I just watching myself fall asleep. Like
Okay.
watch, but behind my eyes, if is there any, what is the imagery coming, and if any strange or random
Mhm.
thoughts enter my mind as I'm falling asleep, I just try to notice that, and maybe in the noticing, I wake up a little bit, and try to kind of ride that awareness into the dreaming space, because those random thoughts and ideas are what they're the seeds of the dreams. Your dreams are made of that. And so by riding your waking consciousness into noticing kind of random occurrences happening, you could go right into sleep like that. And you'll be much more likely to realize that you're in a dream
That's
once you
so
are
interesting.
there.
So I've heard you say that the practicing being fully aware and present just by taking a walk and trying not to think of anything.
Mhm.
Do you take that presence, that feeling of presence into your dream?
Oh yeah, because when you're lucid, you need to be present.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. Or else
100%. Yeah.
or you're gonna fall back into the dream. Hmm.
Yeah. And then also that another mindful, basically being super mindful of the process of falling asleep also creates a setting of mindfulness while dreaming. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Being mindful of it helps you to be mindful while you're dreaming. And
So,
so you'll be in a weird situation while you're dreaming, and you won't notice it. Like, last night I had a dream where I met Shaquille O'Neal, and I didn't know it was a dream. You know, I have
in
seen
that
Shaquille
lucid.
O'Neal in real life,
Yeah.
and so I was like, oh, this is plausible. But I mean, you know, it's kind of a weird thing. I'm living in Poland. I should know that Shaquille O'Neal probably isn't in Poland, and
Yeah.
right now, and be more mindful of it. And so it's this constant practice of assessing your surroundings as well in waking life,
Mhm.
and questioning if you're dreaming.
Yeah.
Hmm. And even really one of the tips I got from reading Claire Johnson's book is to expect that you are dreaming.
Like
So
that.
yeah, so during the day, just you think, am I dreaming? You see anything slightly weird, and you think, hey, am I dreaming? And then you actually expect that you are, and then you do some reality checks and see that you're not.
Mhm.
But it trains you to ask that question in your dreams. And the more you ask it during the day as well, the more you'll ask it at night.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like these techniques actually. I'm to be honest, full disclosure, I'm the worst lucid dreamer in the world. The only thing that I do often is roll my dream back when I'm not happy with my own actions. Just
Mm,
rewind and try again because I
mhm.
want to, I want a good outcome somehow. Um,
And yeah, you could enter a dream again. Like, do you actually dream while you're asleep of the same dream twice in a different way?
sometimes, but what I mostly do is I don't know if it's real or not real, but I often go to scenarios that I with people I know nothing about and then try to help them in some way.
Mhm.
And or try to talk them down or try to make them like something. And sometimes I'm not happy with the way I do it. It's like, oh, that could have gone better. Or I'm not happy with things I've said and like, oh, you know what? Let's do that again. So then I just rewind for like 5 minutes and then do it again, but better. So
Wow.
like monitoring my actions and thinking, was that the best approach? Let's try again. And so basically I'm like exploring options on how to interact with humans because that's kind of my job, coaching. So
Yeah.
it's not weird that I practice that in my dreams. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Amazing. It's
I think
powerful.
though, thank you. I think yours too. I think that like I'm doing this interview series now for the Many Worlds of Lucid Dreaming conference. I'm
Hmm.
gonna expect to have more lucid dreams just because we talk about it so much.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I hear that from people who go. I mean, these conferences haven't been along, but so for so long, the online version, but the ISD conference has been going on for 40 years.
Mm,
And everybody who goes says, my dreams just after that just blow up because I've been talking dreams for 5 days.
yeah.
And so I'm thinking if there's a lucid dreaming conference that lasts for 2 weeks, there's going to be some dreaming going on there.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely, definitely.
yeah. So how did you get into presenting at this conference?
So I lived in the same town as Ed Kellogg, and
Like he's the organizer, right?
yeah, he's one of the
Yeah.
organizers.
Yeah.
I also was a student of Ed and Robert Wagner's. Last year they had a lucid dreaming online class, and so Ed just one day mentions, "Hey, do you see the Dream News?" I was like, "No, what are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, I'm throwing a Many Worlds of Lucid Dreaming conference, and I'm looking for presenters." And so I was like, "Okay, I'll present," and then that was it. I sent
Cool.
in some ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm actually quite happy that you're doing it. I'm looking forward to you getting the science and the dream world into the same space. It looks really, yeah. Yeah, no,
Hmm.
I really enjoyed this talk, by the way, and I'm actually quite looking forward to this presentation.
Thanks, Nicolene.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want people to know about it? Just, oh, by the way, I will, like you mentioned an author. I will put that in the description of this video. And the Dream News that you mentioned is the IASD newsletter that anybody can just sign up to just to know what's going on. I'll put that in the description as well.
Yeah.
Um, but do you have closing words for people?
Yeah, I would just say if you're interested in lucid dreaming and wants to connect with some people who are also interested and have actually, trained themselves to lucid dream skillfully, then just come by. It's a fascinating world, and yeah, it might shatter your concept of reality, but I think that's a really good thing to explore.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too. We could use a little bit of flexibility sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, I totally agree. And also I think you touch upon something like the connection that happens even if it's online.
Mhm.
I always really enjoy about these conferences and
Yeah.
seeing a topic like this from so many different perspectives usually blows my mind in ways I did not expect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks so much. See you at the conference, I guess.
Yeah. See you at the conference.